Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 60.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the Cashflow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, you have made it yet again to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast. I am Jay Massey, your host. I'm glad that you are here. Hopefully you are excited. Most importantly, I'm expecting you to want greater productivity. I'm expecting you to want bigger and better results. I'm expecting you to finally figure out what is it going to take to get to the next level, because our guest today has the ability to do that for you. And that's why he's here, because you, I know, want to accomplish more, and I want you to accomplish more. So that's why we're going to have a really, really great show today. Now, for those of you who have joined us for the first time, if you're looking for something to where you can say, Jay, can you give me something to sink my teeth into? How can I get started building cash flow? How do I get my real estate on right now? What can I do? You want to go over to learninvestingnow.com, learninvestingnow.com. Sign up for a complimentary course sitting right there waiting for you so that you have the ability to get started and learn investing now. Now, for some of you, you're like, well, I've already learned. I'm ready. I want to execute. I want my portfolio to grow right now. Those of you who feel like you're in that position, you want to go over to begin investing now, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to begin investing now, and we will be right there to help you be able to take advantage of some cash flowing real estate across many different markets in the U.S. so that you can get started and begininvestingnow.com. Now, today's guest. He is an internationally known author of the #1 best-selling Work Positive in a Negative World. First of all, you got to love that. Work Positive in a Negative World. Redefine your reality and achieve your business dreams. Understand, today's guest has appeared on hundreds, and that's with an S, by the way, hundreds of radio and TV shows across North America in most major markets. He's written over 500 articles that have appeared on Wall Street Journal, MSNBC, CNBC, Dallas Morning News, Sacramento Bee, Entrepreneur.com, Yahoo Finance, Singapore, and countless other websites. His blog is read in over 50 countries, and he's going to invest some time here with you and I today so that we can increase sales with greater productivity so that we can leave the office earlier to do what we love, specifically with our family and friends. Help me welcome Dr. Joey Faucette. You there?
Yeah!
I know, kind of funny, right? It's like there's
a
no
puppet show.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not recorded in
Yeah.
front of a live audience. There's no clapping sound. We need a clapping sound.
I know. Well, we can interject some sound effects right there. I'm sure the guys can do that.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. Thank you, sir, for investing some time here with the Cashflow Diary. I am excited that you're here.
Oh, man. What a pleasure for me, Jay. I've heard so many great things about you, and I find you so charming and intelligent. I'm absolutely delighted to be here today. It's a great day to work positive with you.
Right. Work positive in a negative world. You got to share with me. How did you even come up with such an amazing title? Because it's obvious once you read it, you're like, yeah. But where did that inspiration come from?
Well, let's see. That's a great question. I'm not sure. I remember it exactly. Well, first of all, nothing's original to me. I mean, I'm simply here to recreate and share and tell a message that's an eternal truth, an old message. So I really don't know. I know that one guy and I were sitting around. In fact, he was my web designer at one time. We were sitting around and we were just talking about, okay, what is it that you do? And I'm a highly creative person, but I'm also very extroverted, so I enjoy talking things out. And it's kind of like baloney. We throw it up against a wall and see what sticks, and some of it does, some of it doesn't. So we just hit on this work positive theme. And it's and by the way, like so many things, as you teach in your courses, I'm sure, once you get started and become successful, then more opportunities come to you. So while work positive in a negative world, um, is certainly an opportunity for me to help business people to redefine their reality and achieve their business dreams. I'm working with an educational consultant to do Teach Positive to help educators in K-12 schools to teach these same five core practices to children and really to increase learning with greater teacher and leader effectiveness. And then I just all sorts of things. So it's an amazing thing. But I wish I could remember that moment. I should be able to say, well, on January 23rd, you know, I got nothing, man. I just remember. I remember sitting with Dave and we were batting stuff around. But I think the real genius, of course, the marketing is in the title. The subtitle is where you get the meat. So I think the real genius is in redefine your reality and achieve your business dreams, because that's what this whole work positive process is about, is redefining your reality rather than letting people in the negative world determine
Mm.
your outcomes and your results. You redefine your reality. It's not that negativity is not out there. I mean, it's everywhere. It's Pollyanna at best, stupid at worst, to assume that there's nothing negative out there. It's just, how do you deal with that, and do you let these purveyors of negativity determine your reality, or do you go out there, define it for yourself, and then achieve your business dreams? I mean, just like you started your business, your real estate investing business, in what most people would say is the crappiest market we've had since the Great Depression, you know? I mean, what kind of sense did that make? People were telling you, don't buy anything, you can't get credit. You went out there and did amazing things when nobody could get any money. So you got to redefine that reality, right?
Yeah, I agree. It is a core function for being able to even take that first step, because we grow up a certain way, we're programmed a certain way, but the good news is we can be reprogrammed, and oftentimes we fail to realize that. But when we're presented with an opportunity to move in a different direction, this ugly monster, typically known as fear, comes up. And I know that you've got some information, because we were kind of talking, and you were talking about different kinds of fear. So I think that would be very valuable if you help me understand what you mean by different kinds of fear, and more importantly, for someone possibly experiencing one of those kinds, what do you think is the kill-all tactic to be able to overcome it?
Oh man, we're all looking for that silver bullet, that magic pill to take, aren't we?
Absolutely, for
Yeah.
$29.95 with shipping and handling, please.
Oh no! If you're getting it from me, it's going to be 6 equal payments of $29.95.
That's exactly right.
Oh, wait, that's funny. That's absolutely funny. Yeah. Well, I do think fear is huge, and I love your statement that we're programmed. My mom and dad did absolutely the best they could with me, gee, they're still alive today, so I'm so blessed to have them here. I recently spent 4 or 5 nights in the hospital with my dad as he recovered from surgery. But some of those messages you get just don't work. And I tell my daughters are in their 20s now. I say, girls, take what works for you now that your mom and I gave you, but you sift through it and get rid of the chaff that doesn't work, that doesn't feed you, and hang on to the kernels that do, and then go make your way in the world, because we're not infallible by any chance. T. Harv Eker did a great job, I think, of helping us understand that millionaire mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And helping us work through reprogramming ourselves in that regard. But in terms of fear, I guess I remember being a kid and being really afraid I was going to die. Third
Wow.
grade, and you can go to our website at listentolife.org, and there's a tab there that says, "Who is Dr. Joey?" And there's a little short video about it. But anyway, I was in the hospital with a viral infection in my lungs, and they looked at my mom and said, "We don't think he'll make it through the night." That was real fear right there, Jay. And so as a 9-year-old, I experienced that early on. So dealing with fear is something I think we all do. It's just a matter of how well do we do it? What do we do with it? Um, do we allow it to define us, or do we define ourselves around it? I think one of the marks of great leaders is they act in spite of fear.
Mm.
We tend to think that, oh, these great leaders, they aren't afraid of anything. They go charging off like the Terminator or something, right into the teeth of the battle, or a Braveheart, whatever. Oh man, no, no, that's not it. Everybody has fear. Um, briefly, in the book that you mentioned, Work Positive in a Negative World, in the Achieve core practice, which is the fourth core practice of the five that we teach you about so that you can work positive in this negative world. There's several fears that I refer to as intentions. Now, intentions are absolutely wonderful. State your intentions as affirmations. But what happens with so many of us is that we fail to achieve the results we want because we divorce intention from a couple other really important things. First of all, attention, and secondly, action. In fact, the achievement prescription for a work positive lifestyle is attention plus intention plus action equals your work positive lifestyle. And that's how you get the results that you say you want, by acting on them, because you're paying attention to the things which bring it to you. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But that centerpiece of intention has to do with what happens. Fear emerges when I divorce my intention from attention and action. And so I've seen several different kinds, not only in my own life, but in working with so many business owners across the country and around the world. There's a tendency for intention to seek perfection immediately. In other words, I want it now, just like that silver bullet, that magic pill you were asking for just a second ago. I want to do it right, and if it's not worth doing right, the first time, then you shouldn't be doing it at all. Some of us are programmed in that way. I remember trying to play the guitar when I was a kid, and just couldn't get the notes to come out right, because I thought I should be able to pick it up and be a rock star, and all the chicks dig me immediately.
15 seconds. In 15 seconds or less. Right.
That's what they promised in that study course.
I know.
So what I found was it didn't work out that way. But so many of us seek that perfection immediately. And when we don't get that perfection with that first failed attempt, we roll it up and go home. So intention seeks perfection immediately, and then fear grows in the reality that I'm not perfect. Newsflash. None of us are.
Right. What? What do you mean it didn't work? But my idea was so great. I often say and think that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. And then it sounds like that's what you're saying.
Say that again, because that's absolutely beautiful.
Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the first, I like to say something not nearly as poetically as you do, but I like to say you burn 90% of your fuel escaping gravity. And sometimes it's in a circular motion, right? I don't know about you, but I keep having to go over the same ground sometimes.
Yeah, more than once.
Just learn this lesson. My friend Tim Sanders says it's okay to make mistakes, just make new ones.
Yes.
But so many of us develop this fear because our intention seeks perfection immediately, and when it doesn't happen, the fragility of our egos are revealed, and so we roll it up and go home. Another one is intention fears failure, and that's sort of the twin, the other side of the same coin, the twin to that side of the coin. One of the things that we really push out, particularly in our 7 weeks to work positive coaching program, is that failure is an experience, not a person.
Oh my goodness! You did not just say that.
I did.
I got goosebumps because I'm saying, because I tell people failure is an event, and it's not you. Failure is an event. It's something that happens. So this is awesome. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, I like the word experience better because I'm emotionally wrapped up in failure, and so an event is something I attend. I participate in the moment, and then I go back home. An experience is something that's Velcro. I mean, that's going to stick to me, right? And so
I like
that's why failure is this experience. But look, failure is also something I live through. And when I get on the backside of failure, then we do what I teach in our coaching program is the Dr. Joey two-step, and it's based on a story that I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer tell Darren Hardy, the editor of Success Magazine, which I absolutely love, and I recommend that everyone listening to this get their own subscription to Success. Get the CDs, listen to them, feed your mind that positive stuff that comes from Success Magazine. And no, I don't make a commission off of it. I just absolutely want abundance spread throughout the universe. So, but anyway, Wayne Dyer's talking to Darren Hardy, and he talks about a 1920s newspaper columnist named H.L. Mencken. And Mencken loved writing controversial columns. So he writes this controversial column, and one of them was particularly controversial. So much so that back then, and Jay, you probably weren't alive when we used to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and actually mail letters to each other through the U.S. Postal Service. But anyway,
Mail? You mean did that? You have to go
snail,
somewhere? What?
snail mail. I know.
Oh.
Hey, those blue boxes you might see that are rusting in the grocery store parking lot.
Oh, that would that's funny.
That's right.
Yes, yes, yes.
So anyway, all these readers to these newspapers, which newspapers are a novel idea too, right? All these readers send these letters to Mencken telling him what a terrible columnist he is, blah, 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 blah. So many people wrote him that he responded to them in a column, and the column went something like this: Dear disgruntled readers, I have received your letters and I have them all in hand. I am sitting in the smallest room in my home. You with me, Jay?
Yes.
Soon your letters will be behind me.
That's it.
Okay, did you follow all that all the way through?
No, I
What's
missed
the
it.
what's the smallest room in your home, Jay?
Oh, the bathroom.
When you're teaching people real estate investment, you do tell them to look for how many small rooms there are in a
Yeah,
home.
right. I never put it. I'm learning. I'm putting it all together. See, guys, right there. I tell you all the time, you can't learn and look good simultaneously. It's impossible to do those two things. You just witnessed me learning right there. So I did not look good. Okay.
Well, the beautiful thing about you, Jay, is you don't fear failure, and I love that.
Nope. It's through failure that success is built on failure, in my opinion.
Totally. So the Dr. Joey two-step comes right out of that story that Dyer told to Darren Hardy. And here it is. Step one, grab the handle. Okay? Because you can learn from any experience, whether it's failure or success. And how you define failure and success usually has more to do with some kind of internal messaging or your expectation going into the experience than it does with the actual results. Because the results are the results. How I define them, how I interpret them is up to me. So I can learn from negative people. I can learn from negative experiences. Okay, step one's grab the handle. Step two, flush.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah. Step two, what's really cool is when 500 people all say it with me. Flush!
Yeah. I was like, I think I know what step two is. Grab the handle and flush. I love it.
That's right. Well, what are we flushing? We're flushing the negative emotions that arise, the disappointment, the negativity, perhaps that sense of failure, that I'm a failure rather than the experience was a failure. We're flushing all that, Jay, so that we can grab that handle, that lesson that we learned, and we can move forward and put that into our next experience. So, talking about these fears, the first one is that this intention seeks perfection immediately. So I fear I'm not going to be perfect. I fear I'm going to fail. I also fear, because intention in fearing failure and in seeking perfection immediately. The third fear is that it gives up and quits.
Mm.
Now, you've seen that. In fact, we were talking about it off air a moment ago. You'll see somebody come up to you to ask a question, and then the next time you see them, they ask you basically the same question.
Right.
They gave up, right? Whether it's because of the mental model they brought to the situation, or any number of reasons where they give up and quit. Now, my favorite story about giving up and quitting is, of course, the Comstock Lode, which you're in California, and you know all about that, I'm sure. That this guy sold, lived on the East Coast, sold everything he had, moved out in the great gold rush in this country, manifest destiny, right? And he goes out and he's digging in the ground, and there's supposed to be all this gold there, and he goes bankrupt, decides to go bankrupt. He just gives up and quits. Another guy comes in, buys all the equipment and the land for pennies on the dollar, digs in the same exact hole, 3 more feet, and strikes the largest gold vein in the history of the California gold rush. How do you know when to quit?
I don't. I just keep going.
That's exactly right. My 22-year-old daughter, who's graduating from college in a few months, and I were talking the other day, and I said, sweetie, I don't know whether it's because daddy's just stubborn, stupid, or just crazy, but I keep going. I just keep going. So, but the fear is that we're not going to be successful, so I better just fold my cards, go home now, right? Just go ahead and quit now. The old thing about winners never quit and quitters never win. I mean, how do you know when to quit? The only time your results become final, Jay, are when you quit.
Nice.
If you continue going, you always have an opportunity to reinterpret, redefine your reality, and keep moving forward. So, this intention, which produces this fear, um, seeks perfection immediately. It fears failure. It gives up and quits. Also, intention divorced from attention and action underestimates the power of one. That I, as one person, can make a difference. That I, as one person, do this. Now, I'm a big believer in social relationships, and that's the second core practice of positively successful people who work positive in a negative world is the conceive core practice, and we can talk about that in a moment. But what I'm talking about here is that I'm nobody special. That I can't do this just because you did it, Jay. You invested in all this real estate. You got all these units. You raised all these millions of dollars. I just can't do that. So it gets into fear manifesting itself as low self-esteem or I don't deserve this success or something like that. Well, the fact of the matter is, one person has within him or herself the power to absolutely revolutionize entire industries.
Mm-hmm.
Witness the shoe bomber.
The shoe bomber?
The shoe bomber. Before the guy that tried to light his tennis shoes in a terrorist act and blow up an airplane, before him, I could walk onto any airplane anywhere and not have to worry about did I wear my socks with a hole in it today? Or, oh, geez, I didn't wear socks. I'm going to have to walk on this floor
Right.
without. But after one person tried to light his tennis shoes, we all now take our shoes off to go through TSA, unless you were born, of course, before 1937, in which case they give you a free pass, right?
Right.
So, I mean, one person had the power to totally revolutionize and change an entire industry. You, as one person, have so much power. Always, always, always understand that you have that power, and just stop underestimating that you can make that difference because you can. You absolutely can. If
I
not you, then who?
Oh, I believe you so very much. Mostly not. And here's the thing that I want everyone to hear. A few short years ago, if I had heard Dr. Joey say what he just said, I might have not believed him. I know today I believe him through and through simply because this has been an example. Our life, everything that we've experienced has been a continual progression towards that same very realization in various different ways. I mean, even this show is a manifestation of that because I'm like, who's going to want to listen? I've got nothing to say, but you guys continually prove me wrong because you keep showing up and you keep inviting friends and you keep leaving reviews. You keep going. I'm like, wow, this is cool. So let's keep doing this. And what I find that is interesting in what you just said is that we oftentimes, I know for me this was the case until my back was against the wall, until I could see no other way. I wasn't able to put enough attention on my intention and actually take that action. Why is that the case? Why do we have to wait until stuff gets so hard? Certainly hope you are enjoying this particular episode. I know that you can hear it in my voice. It's just so awesome to be able to meet so many different entrepreneurs from all over the place. And, well, yes, it's fun to bring them to you. Now, many of you know that we have not done a cash flow question because we are waiting for the book to come out. The book is almost here. You're like, what book? Oh, my gosh, it's the Cash Flow Diary. The book is here. At least the digital copy. You can go over to cashflowdiary.com/book, cashflowdiary.com/book to be able to get that. Or if you're at your phone right now, we have a text line. You can go to 949-682-3565, text the word book, and we'll send you the link and information necessary so that you can get your own digital copy. Digital copies are available now. It is awesome, guys, to have this finally coming together. If you still want the autograph copy, those of you ordering direct from our website will be getting autograph copies. If you want those, feel free to go over to cashflowdiary.com/book as well. I'm excited. I want to get you back to this interview, but one more quick little thing. if some of you, depending on when you're listening to this, you occasionally you send in emails. Hey, when is the next live event? When's the next live event? I'm actually headed up to the Sacramento area. If you are up there and you'll want to hang out, let me know. We will be up there. It's a 2-day event, I believe, that I'll be doing. I'll actually be playing the cash flow board game, so it'll be awesome to be up there in that area making that happen. Anyway, let's get you back to the interview.
Dr. Norman Vincent Peale said, opportunity lies within the seeds of adversity. And I think it speaks directly to what you're talking about. There's something, there's something about us that just causes us to, and this could be a whole spiritual conversation here, but there's something within us that causes us to exhaust all our possibilities that we can control and manipulate or even influence before we'll listen to someone, whether you want to call it higher power or God, or somebody else like you or me. We simply choose to exhaust all our possibilities. Now me today, from where I am, if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm changing
that's a problem.
rooms. Yeah, very, very quickly. Because I can't stay there, man. I've got to move. I got to get another room because there's somebody I can grab the handle from. It's something I've got to learn here. So I think the 4 deadliest words in the English language are, I already know that.
Yes, agreed.
Because that's what Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset, as opposed to a growth mindset, which I think takes expression in the 4 words, please show me how.
Yes.
When I become teachable, when I'm open to learning, then I don't underestimate my power as one person to be able to do it. But to answer your question about adversity, I think it's because we have to, and maybe this is far too philosophical an answer, but I think it's just because we choose to exhaust all of our possibilities. The typical person, 95% of us, just tend to, we choose, and it's all about choice. We choose to exhaust all possibilities until we're desperate. We have nowhere else to turn. And so we hit the panic button and then boom, here we go. But I also think it's because the universe meets us right there at that point too. And we are more open to the abundant resources that are out there than at any other time. Because I've already done everything I can. Now, this really grows out of the Believe core practice, Jay, which is the 3rd core practice of a work positive lifestyle. And that is the willing suspension of the disbelief. This is the redefinition of your reality. Okay. This is the acorn produces the 100-foot oak tree.
Yeah.
This is the pencil point mustard seed becomes a 6-foot tall bush. This is, to pull a TV show out of my growing up years, Jed Clampett out hunting one day, misses the prey, hits the ground, and up through the ground comes a bubbling crude. Okay. Right. Now, what if Jed had said, oh man, I can't grow crops in this slick black mess. I've got to sell this farm. But instead, what did he do? He discovered it was oil, and he moved to Beverly Hills.
Yes.
So the rest is history.
Yes, there it is. See, history as told by TV.
That's right. Let me give you one more fear, and I think this one is particularly endemic today. Fear emerges because intention rushes to results. Man, we want it now. And we're back to your magic pill, your silver bullet. We want it right now. And that's just not the organic way that growth occurs. Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Compound Effect. One of the great early financial lessons I learned was, you rather me hand you $1 million now, or would you like a penny a day, and I'll double it every day for 31 days. It's just that compounding effect. But today we've got to get with it. We got to go. No, you can't rush results. There are shortcuts we can learn from each other because you've had experiences and I've had experiences, and so we can learn from one another. But in terms of rushing it, give it time, let it grow organically, and let these positive results come to you. I fear that the first time when I try something, it won't work, and then I put it down. So if I'm expecting positive results immediately, then that short circuits the whole organic process, right?
Yes, this brings up something that I often suggest to individuals. So you being who you are, I gotta run this by you. I often tell people when they're starting something new, the best thing that you can do is fail fast, fail forward, and fail frequently. And
Absolutely.
so that you can get through that very process that you're talking about and get into what I call the feedback loop. That is when I'm starting something
Yes.
new, the first thing
Yes.
I'm after is I want my feedback loop so I can begin to make
Exactly.
the adjustments that are necessary to achieve the results that I want. That's the thing. That's where I am the most nervous, is before I'm in my feedback loop. I'm like, what's it going to take to get to my feedback loop? How quickly can I get there? And then I can make adjustments.
Oh, absolutely, Jay. And here's what I want to tell you. Your feedback loop is built in. Every time it's built into your business, every time you take a step, every time you take an action, it moves you forward to the next action because you're constantly learning. Now, the way I like to talk about this feedback loop is I say that your business, and in your student's case, the real estate business, has this built-in feedback mechanism. And I refer to it as your business as a built-in GPS. Okay, so let's think about it. I'm starting at point A and I want to go to point B. How am I going to get there? All right. Now, so many of us are afraid. We think, I've got to know the directions before I ever leave home.
Mm.
But traffic patterns change, roads change, and I didn't update. Okay. All right.
Yes.
But now, see, the fear emerges in that, oh, goodness, I'm not going to make it. So it's paralysis by analysis. I
Mm-hmm.
consider a million bazillion bad things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Those bad things are bad things because I put the value judgment on them, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're inherently bad. It's just that I deem them as bad. Instead, well, let me say, we're afraid that our business is going to say when we make a wrong turn, fool, didn't I tell you to turn right in a quarter of a mile and you drove right past it? But that's not what your GPS says, is it, Jay? What does your GPS say?
Recalculating.
Exactly. And that's why your business has a built-in GPS. You listen to feedback, your customers or clients, market conditions, creditors, they'll all give you every bit of information you need to be successful. You've just got to be open and listening. And that's a whole nother part of the work positive process. But and therefore, if you're open and listening, stage 2 is keep moving forward. You got to persevere. Expect adversity, engage adversity, endure adversity. And when you do, you're successful, right?
Oh, that is so much gold. And if you haven't gotten the idea yet, but you probably should go pick up that book. Work positive in a negative world, redefine your reality, and achieve your business dreams, because clearly Dr. Joy has more to share with us than we can even cover in this one episode. And you're hearing me digest and consume this information real time. And what's cool is that I'm getting even more excited to go do even more and bigger things, because what is being shared with you right now is probably the biggest quote unquote secret to doing real estate. It's not really how to fill out a contract. It's not really, which, how do you, which marketplace is it? While those things are important, you won't be able to get that far without learning how to work positive in a negative world, and specifically redefining your reality. I want to talk for a quick second about redefining your reality, because before I started real estate, my reality was different. Yes, we're just going to use the word different.
Or interesting.
Yes. Interesting. So I'm curious, because it seems, there's a lot of what you're saying is like, I didn't really know. I wasn't conscious to what I was doing to make that happen. But it sounds like to me, you've got a process where we could consciously make that happen. I'm kind of curious what that would be.
Yeah. Wow. This is such a big topic. We could spend an entire show about this. First of all, it's the third core practice in a work positive lifestyle, and this is the emotional one, and I refer to it as the believe. By the way, can I just go over all 5 core practices really quickly?
By all means.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick taste. The first core practice, and I do think these are steps, but I don't describe them as steps. I refer to them as core practices, because if I tell you to take a step, you think, okay, I've taken that step. Now I don't have to go over that step again. No, 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 no. You keep going over these. So they're core practices. These are habits that I discovered from Great Depression gurus, guys that started businesses during the Great Depression that are still thriving businesses today. So the first thing you do is you perceive the positive at work. And this is the mental dynamic. This is where you focus on the positive, specifically positive thoughts, and filter out the negative. Again, it's Pollyanna at best, stupid at worst, to think that the world's not negative. There's negativity out there. We're not going to go Zen Buddhist or something and say it doesn't exist, or Hindu or whatever. No, we're not going to say that. It exists. All right. It's just, what do you do with it? Well, you want to filter it so that you can focus on positive mental food and feed your mind that. So first of all, I perceive the positive at work. Secondly, I conceive it. And this is the social dynamic of a work positive lifestyle. This is where you learn how to deal with negative people without becoming one yourself. And by the way, this is really key because like attracts like. Jim Rohn used to say, you're the average of the 5 persons with whom you invest the most time.
Right.
Okay, so who are your high 5? How high are they taking you? Is there a negative person on there? And by the way, my pet name for negative people, Eeyore vampires.
Love it.
We can unpack that later if you want. Third core practice is believe. I believe the positive at work. This is your emotional engagement with what you do and how well you are satisfied in what you do, thereby releasing what Napoleon Hill used to call your creative imagination to innovate, even disruptively, so that you find new solutions, new outcomes to people's problems. After all, an entrepreneur is just simply someone who solves other people's problems at a profit, right?
I agree.
So I perceive it, conceive it, believe it, then I achieve it. And this is where we put action to intention and attention, and we keep moving forward so that our GPS guides us to positive results, okay? Then the 5th core practice, one that really surprised me that I discovered, because I thought, okay, well, after your P&L looks wonderful, or you accomplish some other goals that you set for yourself, what else could there be? But the 5th core practice that surprised me is the receive core practice. And this is kind of an ethical, can I use the word mandate even? That sounds a little strong, but it's an ultimate reality that you reap what you sow. And I think there's a certain ethical, even obligation that we have as successful people to teach other people how to be successful, to financially give into our communities, particularly if you're a small business owner. If you're a real estate owner and you're renting out your property, do you say thank you to the person renting that property? Because, oh, by the way, they're paying the mortgage on it for you. And how do you say thank you? Well, there's some revolutionary old school even ways of saying thank you in the world today, and of discovering how to serve other people. So we're really put here to help one another. And that might sound schmaltzy, but hey, Zig Ziglar said it best: when you help other people get what they want, you get what you want.
Yep.
I can't say it any better. So those are the 5 core practices of a work positive lifestyle. Now, the believe core practice is that one where you willingly suspend your disbelief. First of all, you believe that you have this birthright to believe. You remember when you were in school and the
I try not to, but yeah.
Well, I'm in school every day.
Well, yeah. Well, I think there's a difference between schooling and education, but yes, I agree.
That's right. That's right. Well, yeah. Self-learning versus formal learning. Let's say we're in kindergarten and the teacher says, class, today we're going to draw a tree. So you go, oh boy, I know how to draw a tree. And so you get your construction paper and your crayons and you start drawing a tree. And you take the red crayon and you put a smile on the tree. And the teacher comes over and she says, oh, Joey, trees don't have smiles. And little Joey's just crushed because Joey's trees have smiles. Right?
Right.
Well, there's this innate amount of intellectual curiosity that we're born with. And we believe that the universe exists to abundantly bless us, that we can have life and have a good life, an abundant life. And we believe that because it starts happening for most of us from the moment we're born. You think about how narcissistic an infant is. They don't ask for attention, they demand attention. And
Right.
and this child's a demon child, 3 a.m. until you feed them, and then they're all, everything's wonderful. Uh, but we're born with that intellectual curiosity to believe. You tell me that an acorn grows a 150-foot oak tree, I believe it.
Yep.
Okay. I see and I interact with the world with awe and wonder. Well, when we become mature, sophisticated adults, we lose that. And we begin to bend into our ego. And suddenly it's about me and what I can do to control and manipulate and influence the world around me and the people in it. So it's not about this abundant life that I want to embrace and go out and discover in this adventure called life. It's about me and what I can do.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different orientation. Now, when we suspend that, when we bend away from our egos, then we begin to imagine. When I do speaking engagements with groups of business people and others, I bring somebody up on stage with me and I say, you guys know Sue? Yeah, everybody loves Sue, right? And I say, well, here's one thing you don't know about Sue. Sue today has been prepping for months and months and months to become a professional appleologist. Now, Sue's been an amateur appleologist. Now, of course, we know that appleologists are apple plusology, the study of apples. So Sue today
Yes.
is going to become a professional appleologist. So we're going to help Sue become a professional appleologist. So I just happen to have an apple, and I hand Sue an apple, and I say, Sue, tell me, and this is not a trick question, what are you holding in your hand? And she'll say, well, an apple. And I'll say, and how many? And she'll say, one. I'll say, Sue, is that your final answer? You want to phone a friend or what? Sue will say, that's one apple. And I'll say, okay. And then I'll say, now, Sue, how many seeds in that apple? And she'll look at me like, I don't know. And I say, just tell us, Sue. And Sue might say 5. And I say, okay, Sue, if we plant those 5 apple seeds, how many will live? And my typical Sue will say 1. The optimistic ones will say 2. Every now and then I'll get a crazy person like you or me who'll say 5. We
Yes.
think they're all going to live. And so anyway, we get that number. Now, Sue, you have 2 trees that live. How many apples does the average apple tree produce in the average mature year? And she might say 200. And then you see where I'm going. And each of those apples produce 5 seeds. And then, so the point gets to be pretty obvious very dramatically. Sue, how many apples are you really holding in your hand? And Sue says, I'm holding an infinite number of apples in my hand.
Nice.
You see how believe that emotional engagement with what you do and the use of creative imagination takes you into a world of possibility and opportunity that redefines your reality and allows you to achieve your business dreams.
Wow. If that's not enough for you to go pick up this book right now, I don't know what to tell you. Guys, move at the speed of instruction. We have had an amazing time here with Dr. Joy Faucette, and I just want you guys to know that it's not often where you get the privilege of being able to get such quality information that is actionable, that you can use all the time so easily, delivered straight to you on your own electronic device. Here's the point. We all want to grow. We all want to make cash flow. We all want to do bigger and better things. And the key to it, I am not kidding here, has more to do with what goes on inside than the actual what you're doing on the outside.
Totally.
Dr. Joey, I know I'm grateful that you've invested this time. Is there anything that you would like to share in any closing comments, any ways that if we wanted to follow up with you some more that you wanted to let us know about so that we can continue to learn from you and leverage the wisdom that you've collected over the years?
Oh, Jay, you're so generous. I appreciate your kind words. The truth of the matter is, everybody I coach and every interview I do like this, I learn. And so I've learned a lot from you today, and I appreciate your generosity in letting me be on. And so if I could just say thank you to you and also to your listeners by giving away some chapters of my book, would that be okay?
That's completely fine.
Just give away some chapters, and that way, yeah, if most of us are those test drive before we buy kind of folks. And so if you'll go to workpositivebook.com, How easy is that, right? Workpositivebook.com. You'll find an opportunity there to get 3 free chapters. And that's just my gift to you. If you want to know more, also got something else free for you. We've got a webinar video on our website. You're going to love this website title, listentolife.org.
Nice.
Listen to, that's T-O, life, life.org. And you'll come right there onto our homepage and you'll see an opportunity to experience even more information about the work positive lifestyle that you can have. And also there's an opportunity there for you to get unlimited email coaching from me so that we can get in a relationship. I think the greatest economic development plan for our country right now lies somewhere in this conversation today as we begin to discover how to work positive and create cash flow. And that way we can help each other to achieve our dreams.
Agreed. And again, thank you so very, very much for investing the time here. Anytime you want to come back, you are more than welcome, because this was, I know that someone listening right now heard exactly what she or he needed to hear to be able to take action. And I appreciate all that you have done to make sure that more individuals can go out there and get stuff done. Because as many have heard me say before, I believe the U.S., I believe the world in many ways is going to be healed one entrepreneur at a time.
Oh, I concur wholeheartedly. And again, you're so kind. I appreciate the gift of your time and trusting your listeners with me today. I'm very humbled by that. Thank you.
You're welcome very much. Now, everyone, you know what it's time for. It's time for you to go out there and actually act. You've heard some good information. Ask yourself, what are 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you can do today that say, hey, I'm changing. Hey, I'm going in a different direction. Hey, I'm going to begin to create cash flow right now. What is that intention that you can put attention on and then follow it up with action? And I do mean today, moving the speed of instruction, most importantly, now o'clock. I am glad that you've taken the time to listen one more time, and I will see all of you again. Until next time.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cash Flow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, cashflowdiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cash Flow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.